This must be Bambi saying this is interesting. I don't know what to say. How you doing?
Oh, sorry.
No, you good. Sorry, I was giving a speech.
You know, it does bother me that Bambi is so nonchalant to walk in here with T.O., but this is the same person who admitted that she was dealing with Scrappy while he was living with Erica Dixon. So the more I dig into who she is, I see why you're standing here like this as well.
A little disorganized, although the show chronicled his journey through love, heartbreak, and family strife, few events were as terrible as when he found out that his ex-wife Bambi was expecting her new boyfriend's friend. In Atlanta's love and hip-hop culture, one of the most well-known figures has never held back when discussing his personal troubles. What elevated it above the level of a television drama was the heartbreaking realism of a man attempting to move on while yet being bound by his past. It was genuine, pure, and unadulterated pain that he was feeling now. There was nothing straightforward about Scrappy and Bambi's relationship. Although they have chemistry, their romance is a flurry of tension, desire, and uncertainty. Since their marriage was tainted by several issues, arguments, infidelity, and conflicting goals that ultimately resulted in an apparent separation, Scrappy found it difficult to move on from Bambi even after the divorce. As all love and hip-hop fans know, he had memories of their time together and hopes for their family's future. In order to benefit the children, Scrappy and Bambi tried to come to an amicable co-parenting agreement after their divorce, particularly with regard to the mother of his children. Sometimes they were able to keep the atmosphere friendly, but there was always a trace of emotion. In spite of his own emotional struggles, Scrappy made an effort to respect Bambi's choices, even if he found it hard to believe that she had moved on. Although it was obvious that he wanted her to be happy, it was impossible to see her with anyone else because they had lived together as a family. What would permanently alter Scrappy's perception of their relationship? Even though he had promised to love and adore her, Bambi was expecting her new husband. The love that suddenly erupted inside him was so intense that he was surprised. He hadn't anticipated this, not with her new companion. A dream, but more importantly, they shared a kinship that was difficult to break. Scrappy was devastated by this realization. Even though he had spent so much time healing the scars from his past, despite his best attempts to hide the reality, it was almost as painful for him as the pregnancy to know that Bambi was seeing someone else who would now be a part of her life. Things don't always work out the way you want them to, and I had to face the harsh truth of that. The division was not one where the pain would eventually end. However, he was more than just a trend. Scrappy had to accept that he would be a constant in Bambi's life. His dream of being the new boyfriend had come to him once.
From 10 years ago.
You talking about sliding a bitch? You still sit
My mouth is right.
You talking about bitch? You talking about bitch? You think a bitch like me scared of asshole? I drag your ass on my mama, bitch.
Do it, Amy.
I definitely plan on using my words with Bambi. That's always my first start as a woman. But don't get too damn about your height or your size or the width of the gums. None of that matters to me. Who getting slid, sis?
You can't even drag your height across your...
You done drug it across everybody.
Let me find out.
Let's keep it moving.
You worried about from 10, 13 years ago.
I'ma let you finish.
That I ain't even touched. But did he ever take you on a date?
Bitch, when you kiss and smell my from the front to the back.
I'm never kissing him.
And I hope I don't get bored and let Scrappy do it.
You're a nasty
You have no loyalty.
Rashida, why you waiting? Could you get this bitch to be views on her music post?
I got the picture with Spice that you were begging for.
It was hard to watch Scrappy's eyes well up with tears. In addition to being tears of sadness, there were tears of regret, loss, and a love that would never fully return. Now that Bambi was expecting someone else's child, the man who had been her child's father and who had supported her through thick and thin had given so much of himself and worked so hard to make things work, and he was left on the sidelines because he couldn't handle the emotional strain of that situation. Keep in mind that this narrative was about a man confronting the awful truth that someone he once loved had completely and utterly moved on, not just about a failed marriage or two people who had drifted apart. Love is not always guaranteed, as it served as a reminder. Even though Scrappy had gone through a lot of tragedies, such as a rough upbringing and highs and lows in his career, this was something special, a sadness that was integrated into his very soul and that fame, time, or money could never help him get over. Bambi was someone he truly loved, and the idea of her starting a new life with someone else was too much for him to handle. Even though he was a tough guy who could handle any situation, the man who had enjoyed his strength was crying at that same moment. Instead of being a show, Scrappy's collapse was an open and unreserved display of the weakness he had long tried to hide. Atlanta's hip-hop and romantic cultures have witnessed Scrappy's rise, change over time, but this raw glimpse into his humanity served as a reminder that death and losing a loved one can still have a profound impact on a person, regardless of how strong they may seem on the outside. Despite being on reality TV, the rehashed story was widely circulated. For everyone who has ever been in love and lost it, or who has ever had to watch a loved one move on without them, this is crucial understanding. Ultimately, Scrappy's emotional trajectory underwent a significant shift, and it involved more than just realizing that he needed to learn to let go after realizing that his relationship with Bambi was ended in order to find peace and healing, even if it took some time for the wounds to heal. The goal of his emotional rehabilitation was to bring Scrappy's own happiness back, even when it was painful to see someone else move on. It was a tale of suffering, development, and the fortitude required to recover while other things seemed to be moving on without you.